Hello. Let me get this thing started and we'll kind of see how everybody is. So, checking in from Arizona. Let me see if it's working. Can anybody see me or hear me? I'm still trying to figure this stuff out. Can you guys see me? Here we go. So, this is going to be a little bit of a different format. And a lot of it is because I don't know what happened today. I'm going to rely on you to kind of help walk me through this process and what this looked like. And so that's, if you guys can hear me, please let me know. I don't know why my computer keeps taking over. So frustrating. Give me just a second. Tech issues. Sorry. Okay, so here we go. So I can't see the who's commenting. So this is I'm trying to do something different. And so I'm using different equipment. I'm on the road in Arizona. You can see the piano behind me. There's going to be live tunes later on. You guys are going to miss out. So I guess where I'm trying to get at with today is how did we do, and how do you feel that it went today? And please, put stuff in the chat. Let's talk about kind of what happened. I got a lot of text messages and messages throughout the day about what was happening, and so thank you for tuning in. I appreciate you guys, and so that really gave me a lot of. I guess there was some good stuff I hear, and there was some bad stuff, and obviously starting off the day with Paterno, I hear that things went really, really well with that for the most part. And then also there was, some really big fireworks. We're talking where, the judge was able to speak in hypothetical, and he was basically able to bring in the racial impact of Measure 114. And I really think that's a really solid argument. And so, when I heard that, I was really, really glad that things went that way. And so, because this is something that we always complain about from the beginning of this is how this affects women, how this affects people of color, also people that are in lower socioeconomic groups. And so inherently all of this stuff is, it's class warfare is what it is. And so I'm really, really glad that the judge, I feel, was able, from what I hear, and this is stuff that I don't know for sure because I took the day off. And the reason I took the day off is because obviously I had to get down here, and a lot of it was a test. I wanted to feel like I could step away and not focus on this and then have people fill the gaps. And I'll tell you what, I'm so proud of the people that all the messages I got, all the notes that I got, like you guys really did a very, very good job. And the way you guys are analyzing the information is really, really great. And so, really kudos to you guys. And so that, I kind of did it on purpose. I said it was a test because I want to be able to feel that like all the work that I've been putting in is getting my Oregon gun owners to a place where we can, we were crawling before, and we're now at like a slow walk. And I want to feel like we're getting to a place where, we're at a slow run. And I feel this progression building here with you guys. And so, part of this was, I've had just a long week, and I was like, you know what, they got this. And you guys, for the most part, everybody kept me in the loop. There was some really, really good stuff. So if you guys have notes, anything that you guys typed out, and you can copy and paste it, let's put it in here, and then we'll talk about it. I can highlight this stuff, and what we'll do is we'll talk about it. So, so that was good. So the World War II stuff, I was unaware of that. I'm not sure where Tony found that, but I really found that was a very, very interesting, because I didn't know that Oregonians were called to defend the state in World War II. That's awesome. And so that's another support of, Section 1, Article 27 of the Oregon Constitution. That's that's a big thing for us. And so the fact that we were able to include that, I feel that that is getting us in a place where we need to do, because that's what we're ruling on right now. This is being, weighed against the Oregon Constitution, and so from what I hear is some of the expert witnesses on the other side, what they were is I let a comment or a thing into the group today just for conversation about, how the state of Oregon could be potentially self-sabotaging themselves. And I feel like, I don't think that's out of line. I feel that I don't feel like they're giving it their all. Why? This is a different burden of proof from the federal trial. Okay. This is a different ruling that's going to be in this court. And so I'm not sure why they would use the same arguments and the same, they're relying heavily on the measure on the federal trial, and that was a bad ruling. And so I don't know why they would put all of those eggs in that basket. And so I think, 100%. And I feel that the more that I hear is Tony is really just jabbing away, and he's like a jackhammer. He's just pounding away. And I think at the end, that's really what we need is, and I feel that, I don't know about today, so a lot of it I'm speaking hypothetically, but from the conversations that I had, like, I feel that, we had some good points scored. And so, we can look at, in reality, it could be over at this point, and I feel, this is a good place to be. And I feel that, I'm glad to do these recaps. I really want to go enjoy people. I ran into Massad Ayub at the shuttle, talked to him, rode the shuttle to the hotel with him, had a great conversation with him and his wife. And so that was cool to start my trip there. I met him for the first time last year and had a good conversation last year. And today we got to talk Measure 114 because he was one of our expert witnesses in federal courts. I had a really good conversation with him, and he told me about how the state of Oregon tried to discredit him as an expert witness, and they tried to get him thrown out. And I was like, well, I kind of know how that feels. So I think that was, it was cool to see him. I'm gonna get a photo with him tomorrow. I didn't want to. He'd been traveling, came from out of state, and so I wanted to kind of leave them be, and I helped them with their luggage. It was cool. It was cool. So I'm glad to start it off that way. And so I heard something about Twitter, and I heard. Yeah, I heard a lot about that. That was a very common thing. I'm using a different platform tonight, and so I can't tell who's making these comments because it's on my computer, because my iPad for some reason is hooking to my computer. Maybe if I turn my Bluetooth off. Let me try one thing real quick, because I really want to know who's saying this stuff so I can know. And what I plan on doing. What I plan on doing is I'm going to turn off my. Give me 1 second. I'm going to turn off my Bluetooth because my computer was hooked, because I'm trying to use two screens, because I need to be able to see who's making these comments, because I typically use two screens. And so Dan Wade, so awesome. Dan Wade, thank you. And so what I'm planning on doing is I want to get through this stuff tonight, or this weekend, or I get through trial. And then I would like to do like a really, oh, there you are, Dan. Thank you. I want to do kind of an appreciation post about all the people that went in and really helped with this situation. And there's been a lot of you guys that came kind of out of the woodwork, and you guys watched, you were engaged. And so, I don't want to name anybody right now, because obviously we want to get through this before we put anything out. and maybe I make it generic, but there's some key people, probably up to 15 of you that have really been solid, since the end of the legislature, during the legislature, and so that's where I'm really glad to be in this position for you, and so I think right here, and there's a good possibility. There's a good possibility of that. The problem is the federal ruling wasn't the right ruling, and so there's a good chance that, obviously, fingers crossed, prayers that the TRO holds, because I really think the TRO is going to hold, because I feel that the state of Oregon, as much as they've spent on this, they were not prepared for this. They were not prepared for what they've gone through the past week, and you can see it. I could see it yesterday. If I saw it today, I could see. I hear Harry Wilson didn't even speak today, and to be honest with you, he's probably one of the top litigators there. I mean, Brian Marshall's more of kind of a weasel guy, but I feel like Harry Wilson's, if like you think of Jordan, like you got 3 seconds left in the game, you got no timeouts, like you put in Harry Wilson, because Harry Wilson's he's very, very solid. Even though he's not on our team, I wish he was on our team, or not in this case. We got a really good team. But you understand what I'm saying is I'm trying to, and the fact that he didn't even speak, is a big tell. And so I feel that they're going to be just kind of licking their wounds. And so let's look at this one. Yeah, I did hear about how they introduced the fact that they used children and people in nursing homes to collect signatures. And I felt, knowing just my outside view of the judge, and I feel that, and the way he views his community, like I feel that, like if that would come out in court, that would actually make him. I'm not going to put words in his mouth, but it could be kind of upsetting to him, because I know how he feels about his community, and I know how he feels. He has a responsibility to his citizens, and I feel that. The fact that they're admitting this type of stuff in his courtroom, it's kind of, what happened with Brian DeLay yesterday, where he said that the clergy and all these other, activists have the right to make policy. And then, Tony called him out. What about judges? And then, I mean, I could totally see the judge's body language there. And Brian DeLay was just like, what did I just say? You're talking about a guy that has probably an IQ higher than most of us, right? And I'm, it is what it is. It's just who he is in his, academia, right? He thinks he's the smartest person in the room, but in this situation, it just showed how out of touch he was with reality, especially the citizens of Harney County, and so that's kind of where I'm at there, and so. I'm reading this stuff. So you drop it in here. We'll keep it all part of this video. Yeah, that's great. That is great. Yeah, that's Alicia did really, really good. A lot of you guys did really, really good. So that right there was really the highlight of my morning when I heard that, because that's the one thing that we had to get introduced, and the way it was introduced was in a way that the state couldn't counter, and that was part of the record now. So like there is somebody greater than us that is in charge of what's happening in that courtroom, and it's just, if you can see it, it's the Lord's brilliance at work, and like there's so much at stake here, or there's so many lives at stake, and there's freedom involved, there's livelihoods involved. It's a very, very complex situation. But at the end of the day, the stuff that we need to get introduced is getting introduced. And the fact that we can do it in a hypothetical way where literally the state of Oregon cannot counter is really, really, it's a really good thing for us, And I know, I don't want to put any words in the judge's mouth, but it was probably him talking through his thoughts. It was, you know what I mean? It's not like he's like helping us, or he's not with us, because he's impartial, And so I'm never going to say that. But like, that was good stuff. And that's what we needed is the racial, the impact to women, also the socioeconomics part of it. That's a really, really important thing. And so, that is great. So I don't believe so. I don't know if there is any recordings. The recordings that are here in the group will stay part of the group, and I'll keep it there so people can watch, look back on it. And that's I don't know what's going to happen. No, thank you, Larry, for sending me that. I don't know if I'll get to it right now or not. And yeah, I mean, it's working the way we need it to work, and so that's why we have to make sure that we stay up to date. I got somebody from YouTube. I really appreciate you tuning in from YouTube. And so are you part of our group here on Facebook, or are you just found me on YouTube? Because I'd like to know, because we have a great group on Facebook that if you want to get a part of, send me a friend request and I can add you to the group and you kind of see what we're doing here. I feel like we've come a long way in about a year and a half. And so, one thing I would be really, really careful about is I saw a couple comments about screenshots. We do not want to do any screenshots and submit them to the group, because we do not want to be accused of, any kind of recording. So all the stuff that we're putting in, this is stuff that people took notes, and this is stuff that this is all either their perception, like this is not stuff copy and paste. These are people's words, and so I want to be really, really careful there, as I don't want to get any trouble there. We got to make sure that we're not recording, because that's one of his requirements. I definitely want to respect the judge. So, yeah, I from what I heard with the folders that were dropped on Tony is, from what I heard, the body language wasn't really great from the judge. I think he was really unhappy with that, because just the sheer amount of resources that are being, leveled on Tony, and he's holding his own. Yeah, let's see here. Yeah, absolutely. And I just want to make sure, but let's make sure that because we don't need to, like, at the end of the day, we don't need that information that bad that we're going to jeopardize anything, because we're winning. And like that's where we have to kind of stay up to date and stay up to I did speak to Tony. And I told him that we're all praying for him, and he said the amount of support's been overwhelming. And I said, hey, just take a deep breath and just know that we're there with you, and you're doing a great job, and so whatever we can do to prop him up, and because he's probably not sleeping a lot, and he's on his own, and so that's what. It's just, I'm glad we're all there in spirit. It's really, really important to prop up his family. His mom is now part of the group, and so is his father. And so it's nice to see their support for their son. We're all supporting. So email. Do you know how many emails I got today? Which email is it? I got literally 80 emails today. So, if it's there, it's there, Larry. I think it's Larry, right? Was that Larry? I'll have to check after this, because actually I can pull it up on my phone. Let's see what I got. Okay, Larry Turner, I got your. Wow, that's a lot of notes. So Larry, I got your email. Cool, very cool. I'll have to figure out how to digest and go from there. So okay, yeah, I feel that. What an amazing, like, we should get a refund from the state, from what they've spent on litigation, and no, I got it, Larry. Thank you. I'm just trying to figure out how I introduce it here, because there's a lot to it. So is there anything else we want to talk about? What we're noticing, a common theme with these people, is the fact that none of them are really relevant to this argument. They're like, I think a lot of it is maybe they shop their resumes, maybe they, like, I don't know how they reach out to the state to become part of this trial, but it seems to me the people that are being tapped are really, not ready for prime time. DeLay was a prime example yesterday. As maybe he was just a little arrogant because of what happened in federal court, and so he was just, he was, felt emboldened by that. Now he's got another revenue stream, and really good, comfortable living out of that. And so, maybe he was just a little arrogant. I can see him being an arrogant person just by the way he kind of carried himself, the way he doesn't believe in the Constitution, and the way he views the country as a whole, and I feel that that's really out of touch, especially what you're trying to do is there's got to be a way for this stuff to follow these people, and there's got to be a way for maybe I write a blog post, and maybe I do a blog post just exposing who this guy is, and because I have good enough notes from the trial in federal, and what I saw was just a total. I took a little bit of notes, but there was nothing of substance that I really even want to, because he's just talking to hear himself talk, and so, I heard about that. And at the end of the day, like, your personal opinion of our expert witness that has lots of guns but doesn't want a permit, your opinion of that has no bearing on the fact whether it's constitutional or not. And so I just feel that this was a poorly executed play by the state. And I feel, with as many resources as they came to bear, like, why didn't they have everything covered? Like, why are they in this position? And so, that's where I don't get it. I'm really confused the more I hear about this stuff today. I mean, I wish I would have seen it, but I was glad to kind of check out. So this one right here. No, it's not on my personal Facebook. This is in we have a Facebook group. So if you can send me a message on my personal Facebook, and I can add you to our Facebook group, and then you can see kind of what we've been doing inside the group. And so, I appreciate you tuning in on YouTube. You're probably the only person that does, but it is what it is. Let's talk about this one. Yeah, and that's what was argued by our side. Yes, it would, if it had an extended tube, it would be illegal because of it. It has the ability to hold more than 10 mini shells, and so it's stuff like that where you have to understand kind of what they're trying to do is they're throwing everything at the wall to see what sticks. I mean, I think they're really proud of trying something that had never been done before in the country. And that's why it was super extreme. And that's why they're fighting so hard to keep it, because, they did get it passed, by less than 1%, and, the whole thing is this thing should have gone to rules. It should have been, it shouldn't have gotten this far. We shouldn't have spent this much money already. It should have gone to rules. They should have had a plan to implement. They didn't have a plan to implement. They still don't have a plan to implement. And so it's just, we're just throwing money away, and it's taking away from, other parts of the state. I'm sure there's homelessness that could use it. Oh, hey, Resmond. I'll try to get you. I don't know if I can't add you right now, but I'll get you in here. And so I really feel that they didn't. I mean, I don't know what to do. All I can do is hope and pray that this goes the way we need it to go, and so that's kind of where we're at. Yeah, that's fine. I feel that because they don't have everything in place. I mean, if I was going to look at this, right, the one thing that I would be the most kind of worried and concerned about, like for me as a person, as somebody that carries a gun every day, is the fact that my magazine capacity would be restricted, and there would be a criminal penalty with that. And so that is something that is a big concern for me. So while I'm glad that we're not talking about the permit to purchase right now because there's nothing in place, like I have more of a sense of urgency when it comes to the magazine capacity issue, just because of, how it ensnares so many of us. And so, that's kind of my thoughts on it, so Nevada. Oh, for sure. Yeah, for sure. There's an arrogance about them because they feel that they're righteous here. They're not. And they're, I mean, I couldn't imagine. Could you imagine working 2 weeks and then bringing home a $10,000 check, right? Or a $20,000 check when I'm in trial for Measure 114? You know what I mean? It's just like, it's just unreal to me, just the amount of money that we're spending on this to these people. And at the end of the day, not a single life saved. And we just kicked the can down the road. That's all we did. So, I'm I'm kind of going through things. Thank you guys for tuning in. I appreciate every one of you guys. Yeah, it's amazing. I really think that, and Tony's only been doing this a couple years. I feel that he has a really bright future, and he's going to be a very, very skilled litigator once he gets a little bit more time and experience under his belt. I mean, just the fact of what he's doing right now against all of them is pretty amazing. And so, the cross examination yesterday was really, really good, and so I was really, glad to see him do what he did there, and so, that's kind of the thing. So, so I'm just trying to keep up here. I'm tired. It's a long day. Yeah, there's a chance. Yeah, everything's going to go to appeal. I mean, that's where we have to. Well, the thing is, though, is how many millions of dollars is it going to cost? Like, when is enough going to be enough? When are we going to say no more? And how do we do that? How do we say, enough is enough? This is garbage. Look at these precedents that have already happened all over the country. Okay, look at the Bruen decision. Look at Heller. Look at the way that all of this stuff is supposed to be ruled upon in regards to Bruen and Heller. When are we going to say no to the appeal? And this thing just needs to be thrown out. I mean, that's where, like, I feel that we have to get behind something like that. I don't know what it looks like, and I'd love to figure out, what you guys thought about it. But I mean, we can't continue to spend this money. It's really irresponsible. So, no. So this was actually written by some of the Giffords pack, and they've been in the gun control game for 20 years, and so they're the experts. And so what they did is they wrote this monstrosity of a bill, and they found this group, Lift Every Voice, and then they like, here, do this, and then they helped fund them, and then they got the signatures, and here we are today. And so this is another example of outside influences affecting our state. We can look at Measure 110. That happened with Measure 110. And so that's where we have to understand that, like, there are people in this country that are trying to affect the safety of you and your families that do not care about you because they're somewhere back east, or they're behind a big lock gate with security and armed security, So, it's really offensive to be honest with you. And so, we can't never give Lift Every Voice credit for that. They are just the hired shills. That's all. And so here, let's talk about this one. It passed. It's like they say it's law, but it's not law. There's a TRO in place. You don't have to have a permit to purchase. Here's what we need to do, though. Okay, if support small shops. Okay, help those that are actively trying to help fight for your rights. Okay, there's some great shops around the state. Spend your money with them. Okay, support small business. Don't support the small or the big box stores. Don't buy it online to save $1 and then transfer it in and then have one of your small mom and pop stores do the transfer. Order it through them and spend your money there, please. It's really, really important. I know we're all looking for a deal, but it's really, really important. You understand is, we need to keep those doors open. So, sorry, I'm a little tired. He's really got a great sense of humor. I see, like, I sat there and just kind of watched his body language when I was in court, like in the back, and it seemed very wise, and kind of like, I don't know. I just really respect the judge, and I feel, and I've had people that I've seen comments saying, "Oh, it's just another paid judge," and all this stuff. Like, and whenever I see that comment, that comment's deleted. I'm not going to have anybody badmouth this judge, because this judge is I feel he's the right judge for this job. And I'm not trying to influence his decision making, but I feel that he is going to weigh on the evidence and make the decision accordingly. And so I feel good about that. And so we need to, give him his space and let him, analyze the facts, because the facts are going to trump the emotion. Okay, so we got to stay patient. Okay, we got to stay patient. Oh, absolutely, we're over 2.5 million. Absolutely, that's one of my next projects. Is I'm going to do a Freedom of Information app request, and I'm going to see where we're at, and stay with me here. What about this thought? What about this thought? Is Brian DeLay? He was paid $40,000 in the federal court. I'm not sure what he was paid for. What he was paid for in state court, but I wonder if there's a way to sue him civilly, just for the way he took advantage of the state of Oregon. I wonder if there's a way to do that. Obviously, I'm not an attorney, but I mean, these people would not be so arrogant about their behavior if there was some way to check them. Obviously, I'm just thinking out loud. So I'm frustrated with the amount of money that's been spent, and we're nowhere closer to any kind of resolution. So Dr. Siegel, I hear really not good things about him, and the way he likes to operate. And I believe he was in the federal. I'll have to go back to the notes from federal court, but I had pretty extensive notes on him as well, and so no, I appreciate it. I'm glad you guys enjoy them. It's something I'll try to do maybe another one tomorrow. I have a conference starts tomorrow, and I don't know how. I'll have my iPad with me, and I'll try to do things and keep up. But if you guys are getting value, I'll keep doing them until we get through this. And I'm going to take a bit of a break. I'm burnt. So yeah, I mean, throw it out with the garbage. Okay, so how can we help you explain this to your dad? So the easiest way to explain this to your dad, let's talk the way as it's written, right? So as the way it's written. So if this thing were to go into effect, if your dad was to go buy a firearm, he would be denied at that point of sale by the 4473 form by the FFL, because he would not have a permit to purchase. Okay, so he would have to take a class. He can do it online, and then he would have to go somewhere, a separate class, to prove that he can safely load and unload a firearm, and he would have to get signed off there. Okay, at that point, he would have to go to the permitting agent, which is typically going to be law enforcement in your city or county. He would have to present the certificate for completion for both of those classes. He would have to fill out the form. They would subject him to a background check, which was subjective, and so they could look at his social media, and they could look in whether they think he could be a threat to himself or others. So they could deny his ability to get this permit for him to buy a gun. Okay, so let's say he passed all that, and he gets the permit to purchase. He goes into that FFL. He fills out the 4473. He puts his permit to purchase card on the table there. They would put him in the queue, and he would have to go through another background check to take possession of that gun. Okay, and that gun would be restricted to anything that does not. They say holds less than 10 rounds, but the way they worded the law. Give me 1 second. I just lost it. I'm getting back on there. So, that's the thing here is this thing could, if it does go into effect, and so one thing about those magazine capacities. So if you are caught outside of your home or the range, right? It's a Class A misdemeanor. Class A misdemeanor is up to 364 days in jail and a $6,200 fine. And that's the max penalties. Okay. So with that being said, there's just a lot to it. And so there's other parts about that. So it says if I have a magazine that's a standard capacity that holds 30 rounds, I would have to have it in a locked container away from my firearm to take it to the range. So, that's another thing that we have to kind of know is it's just a bad thing. It's really, really bad. At the end of the day, they don't care. They are so self-righteous that if they think that if they can just save one life, even if it costs you your livelihood, your ability to provide for your family, all this other thing, they don't care. It's really mental illness. What it is, it's mental illness that they think that what they're doing is going to actually help move the needle in a way it's not. So it just. Yeah, you can PM me. I've got a couple good attorneys that I use. Oh yeah, New Mexico. So you see the latest on her? Like I've kept her out of the group because I want to focus on this, but she is a kook. And she basically tuned up the sheriff saying that she didn't need a lesson on the Constitution, which she actually does. So but yeah, the New Mexico governor, that is that's a real problem. And so yes, this was really a really great witness, and he did a really, really good job. Really good job. And so that's another guy, Springer Position. If you guys need like, he's got a great website. If you guys need any parts or anything like that, I think he has over 600 parts that they manufacture. And so, support people like that. So spend that money smartly and wisely, and support those that are doing the work, so. Well, a lot of it's anecdotal though. I mean, the website that I put in here today, that Up in Smoke or whatever website, like, we got to watch that closely because they're starting to make their own data and they're starting to invent stuff. Like I was kind of looking at the website closely, or just kind of skimming through it as I had some time today. And I mean, they're talking about 3D printing switches on Glocks and all stuff that's just made up. And so we have to understand there's going to be a big push going forward into the future because there's so much money attached to this stuff. There's so many people that are making an exorbitant amount of money trying to take away your rights. And so we have to be aware of that. And so, yeah, right there. They don't have the staffing. When we came out in court is Cody Bowen. I mean, there's times they don't even have people on the road, enforcing laws in their county. That puts people at risk, and now you're gonna pull those law enforcement officers off the road to have them, do you permit to purchase? It's a joke. It's a total joke. So, I think we're just we're gonna stay the course. We're gonna be good. So. I think what they're doing is they're trying to show that, history of firearms at the beginning of the state. I think that was their goal. I think they're doing a really horrible job presenting that, and which, my response to that is it doesn't matter what happened at the beginning of our state, because my rights, my technology will evolve, but my rights are going to stay the same. So if I had a right to protect myself and the state in 1859, and I used a musket, and I step into a time machine. I came out in 2023. I'm not going to use a musket. I'm going to use the thing that's going to be most readily available to me, to my purchase. That's going to be the most effective, which would be my semi-automatic rifle. And so that's where this whole thing is so lost. Is I know you want to talk about precedents and the history. Like I get it, I get all that, but what is being missed here is technology always evolves, but our rights are going to stay the same. And so that's such a horrible argument. And so, that's the thing is it's just it's a joke. We're just throwing money away. So. Amen. They are. I talk to his dad every day, and I've been blessed to, and I think that's the kind of the most powerful thing for what I've started out on, and I've met so many great people through this little group and turning on this little camera. Larry Turner, Alicia, Joe, her husband, so many great people. Dan, Scott. I mean, I can't even name them all, so I'm probably not gonna. I don't want to leave anybody out. I don't want anybody to feel. But I've met so many great people, and we're all rooting and cheering, this young attorney on, and he's doing this thing. So, yeah, absolutely, right here. They're creating a bigger problem. There's nothing going to be solved by this, and demonizing us and penalizing us is not going to do anything. So. See what this one says. Yeah. I hope I get to too. Thank you. I've been on the road since last Friday. I slept in my bed last night. It was the first time I've been in my bed. So it's a lot. So glad to do it though. Yeah, that's what I heard. I feel good about that. So, let's see this one. I struggle with that because I think the reason I struggle with it because there's a severability part, and I feel like with the severability, what I hate about is, and especially since we're not talking about the permit to purchase in this trial, is the fact that let's say we get good news and he strikes down the magazine ban, right? There's still going to be this dark cloud that's going to be hanging over our heads with the permit to purchase. And I think the only thing that we have going for us is the fact that I don't see any law enforcement that has really taken any interest in I mean, obviously they're trying to be compliant, but there's really nothing to be compliant with, and when it comes to new law and how they're going to increase the resources to make it happen, so there's a lot that goes into it. So, give me 1 second. Yeah. So yeah, I got another comment, and it was I ran into Masada Ayub and talked to him and spoke with his wife, and he's really, really kind man. Yeah, he's been doing it since the 70s. That's what he told me. He's like, they tried to throw out my testimony, and I've been an instructor since the 70s. I've been doing this since the 70s. And so it's just, that's what they do. It's all a game. One thing I want to talk about, and I'm going to wrap this up in just a second. And I feel like I don't have enough to really talk about. and I'm hungry, so I'm gonna get some to eat. But where was I going with my thought? In 1 second. What I saw today is from you guys stepped up when I couldn't be there, and you guys took really good notes. And so I feel like I don't know how to put them in a coherent message here on this video, and to make it sound good. So I'm probably gonna not. I don't know how I do it, but I feel that you guys all did a really, really good job. And that makes me feel good, because that makes me feel that all the work that we've been doing. If you think about for a moment the work that we've put in as a group, during the legislature, we were firing off emails, we were talking to our reps. Some of us were going and having meetings with our reps. We were showing up for hearings. We were giving testimony. There's all these awesome things that we were doing, and so I feel that we've come a long ways. And so what I'm going to do this weekend is I'm going to talk to some good partners that I have down here, and I'm going to get them and figure out how we get them to start dropping stuff into the group as well, just to kind of broaden the information that comes in, and also give them, like, I'm going to talk to AWR Hawkins and have him share his stuff. He writes for Breitbart. He's a super cool dude. And I just give them a place where they can educate us. That way not everything comes from me. I don't want to be the gatekeeper all the time, and I want to keep order. But I also feel that there's a lot of great information. Another guy I'm going to talk to is Dan Wass. He's out of New York State. I'm gonna do some introductions to you through this weekend, and maybe I'll have them. Maybe we'll do some little live videos with them, and that way you guys kind of see who these people are, so we can, when we bring them into the group, you can kind of learn from them. And like the people in New York, it's literally the belly of the beast. Like the stuff that we're dealing with is bad, but they've been living under it for many, many years. And these guys, they've been fighting, and so that's something. Need to sue the state. Yeah. One thing here is there was 180,000 of us that sat home. So it's like, we can't say that with 6 states or 6 counties when there was a majority of us that just didn't get involved, and I know people feel disenfranchised. I totally get it, but we can't complain about the results if we didn't get involved, so that's the thing. So, the Marbury versus Madison thing, I always see people, I kind of chuckle when I see people post that stuff, because it's never ever been argued. Like, it's maybe been argued once, and that was Marbury versus Madison. Like, everybody cites that, and it's a cute little meme, but you look at all of these cases across the country, it has never ever been cited. And so that's why, I wish people wouldn't hang their hat on that, and because this, that's, you look at precedent. Like, there's nothing that would support that. I mean, yeah, it looks great on paper and it's a great meme, but in what's happening in state and federal court, it's not even being brought up. So 3-day rule, they're trying to get away with that. They're trying to prevent us from doing that. So that's the thing. I'm getting my own ass kicked. So yeah, so that's kind of where I'm at. Well, that's how I've gotten so good at what I do is through like spitballing and developing messaging, and so it's something that it's worked for me for a very long time, and so I work best when I can brainstorm with others and kind of like, hey, what about this? What can we do here? So that's the best part, and that's if you guys can take something from that, then that's going to be a win for me, and that's the whole point of this. Oh, absolutely. Yeah, and we should be highlighting that. We should be making billboards. We should, you know what I mean? There's so many things that we should be doing. Yeah. So right here. That is I don't know who wrote that. That is a brilliant comment right there. So that's exactly. I mean, it's a damn shame is what it is. I know that's why I'm wondering if there's a way to hold him civilly liable for misrepresenting his actual experience, right? Like, I would see if it was like $2,500 bill, like not being worth it. But we're talking if it was $40,000 for the federal trial, and let's say he did another, so we're $80,000. I mean, I don't know what he's been paid. Yeah, can be modified to accept more than 10 rounds. Yes, exactly. So thank you. That's a really important part of that. So that's the thing there is there should be accountability for that, because that's really kind of a misappropriation of funds in my thought. And maybe that's why Ellen Rosenbaum's not going to run for re-election, is she's concerned about there's going to be so much negative stuff tied to this, and she was such a big proponent, so maybe she's going to bow out before this thing totally implodes. I don't know. This is all stuff me thinking out loud. So optics are really big. Like, you've got to understand optics. You got to understand how things are viewed by the public. Yes, 100%. And the thing is, there was an affirmative defense in Measure 114, and so you would have to prove that you had them in your possession by either a receipt or some other way, before the date of December 8th of 2022, which 340 in Senate Bill 348, they were trying to backdate it to December 8th. It's total scam. I hope this stuff helps. I hope this stuff helps. I really do. And that's we just got to get it together. You give them enough rope, they hang themselves. So, celebrate that. So that's the thing. Yes, you would have to prove that you had them. They would only be legal inside of your home or at the range, and you would have to, if you're going to take them to the range for training, you would have them in a locked gun case away from the gun. So you're basically treating the magazine like it's a firearm. So, that's the thing there. Forever, indefinitely, because they don't have a way to get us all a permit. So, and one thing to think about: are you gonna stand in line to get a permit to purchase a firearm? Are you going to obey the crown? I don't know what I'm gonna do. I'm probably just, I guess I got all the guns I need, I guess, but I'm not going to play their game. So I'm not going to admit that Lifter of a Voice won. So, that's just kind of my own personal opinion. The whole thing just drives me nuts. Yeah, absolutely. Yeah. Who is that, by the way? Whose comment is that that I'm highlighting right now? Because I can't see it. Please let me know. Who is that, by the way? Oh, I got. Sorry, I got. Comment is that that I'm highlighting right now? Because I can't see it. Just give me a second. I gotta turn off the. Please let me know. Who is that, by the way? Oh, I got. Sorry, I got feedback. Okay, sorry. Yeah, just let me know. I'm curious because that's a very well informed opinion. I like it. So a salt spoon, wooden spoon skill. I mean, anything can be used as a weapon. It's more about intent. It's about evil behavior, and so predictions on the ruling date. Um, I don't know. I want it to be the right ruling, so and I want it to be thorough, and so I can be patient. And that's where we should be at. There is no hurry to get this ruling, okay? Because the way it stands right now, nothing has changed for us as Oregon gun owners. So let him take his time. Let him, put it in paper the way it needs to be said. Hopefully, it's in our favor. But I have a feeling that just the way the state of Oregon has behaved, that they've really not done a really good job of saving this situation. So I'd like that. Thank you. I go to Portland quite often, though. So it's a pretty good feeling, isn't it, to know that you're not alone. So pretty good feeling to know that you got people that you can count on that are in it together with you because they got the same amount of stuff at stake. So that's it's good. The piano. Oh shoot. Yeah, it's awesome. I'll be doing a solo later on. That's you gotta be here to see it. My friend Charlie Cook is here, and I see he's got all his camera stuff up. I brought in all my camera stuff. It's like, and so it's fun. I'm looking forward to this weekend. So okay, cool. Your orders. I'm out of here. I've done enough for tonight. Who's my cellmate? I wish I could say who my cellmate was. uh, I don't know. It's Tony. Oh, so yeah, Tony, our attorney's making that. Yeah, I trust his judgment. Yeah, that was a very educated. So thank you for that. Thank you for making sure everything's good. So take the night off, Tony, if you can. So we really, we're so proud of you. I can't stress that enough. How um, you know how impressed I am with what you've been able to accomplish on our behalf, and so we owe you a deep um, a lot of grace. And your mom's great, your dad's great, and I'm glad to have you here with us. And I'm glad they're here with us and see what we're doing. And let's keep up this pressure. Um, yeah, so thankful, so thankful. Um, and yeah, that's kind of where I'm at. I'm tired, so I'm sorry if I'm not all. I'm kind of feel like I'm out of the loop too. I don't know if if that this really helped you guys, if it was just me talking to the camera. Um, oh yeah, for sure. Oh, okay. Well, Tony, yes, yeah, flannel daddy, yeah. Okay, you're a good wealth of knowledge as well. So thank you for that. So, all right, I'm gonna get off here. I'm gonna see who showed up. I'm at my hotel and I'm gonna flannel daddy. If you watch YouTube, you know what I'm talking about. Flannel daddy is Grand Thumb. That's a great channel, by the way. If you guys don't check out Grand Thumb, check them out. So, all right, I'm gonna get off here. You guys have a great night. If anything happens, let me know. I'll keep you guys posted, and I'm gonna have some fun. I'm going to do some networking, and I'm going to bring you some new content and some new people into the group to share stuff and pumpkin pie. All right, don't make it weird. Don't make it weird. So, all right, thank you guys. Thanks for all your support, your positive words of encouragement, and I'll talk at you guys soon. Thank you. Good night.